Which university is one of the most asked questions by students who want to study abroad? Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Tafara, and on this channel we share about opportunities in education, scholarships and personal growth. And today we are going to talk about how you can narrow down to the university that you want to study abroad. Studying abroad is an opportunity that can shape your career and your personal growth. But with so many universities to choose from, how do you find the right university, or how do you find the perfect university? Don't worry, I will talk about a step-by-step guide to help you make the best decision. This step-by-step guide is based on the experiences that I've seen whilst I was looking for universities to study abroad. So the first thing that you need to do is to define your academic and career goals. In as much as we have so many universities, some universities specialize in different things. So be smart and choose the right university that aligns with your program. And then the other thing is to ask yourself, what subject am I passionate about? And also, does the university offer top programs in my field? You have to look at that, because sometimes, most universities are offering programs, but we have many known universities that are specialized in the programs. And then the other thing is to ask yourself, what are my career goals? So some universities specialize in certain fields. You have to ask yourself, what subject am I passionate about? You have to ask yourself, the university offer the kind of career or the kind of program that I want? That does the university offer top programs in my field? What are my career goals after graduation? All of these questions I'm talking about will help you to narrow down which university you will actually land, or which university you will actually feel good to go to. So we have some universities that specialize in certain fields. So make sure that you pick the one that aligns with your aspirations. What am I trying to say? Yes, universities are all around us, but we know that there are universities that we know that they are really, really good in engineering programs, or these universities are really, really good in medical programs. So this is important. Now, the second thing to do is to check the university rankings and accreditation. With the rise of private universities and all of that, rankings can give you an idea of a university reputation. We have heard of a lot of stories whereby people go and study abroad, but the universities are not recognized. The rankings are not good. So check the global rankings in Times Higher Education. And then you also have to check subject specific rankings. If you're going to study agriculture, you need to check the subject specific rankings for the universities that are good in agriculture or in engineering or in business. And then the other thing is that accreditation is very important. You need to ensure that you're going to a university with high academic standards. But remember, rankings are just there and they aren't everything. So you have to really weigh your options. A lower ranking doesn't necessarily mean that the university is not good for you. Now, the other thing that you have to consider is the location and the study and the lifestyle, where your study matters. Think about the climate. If you're like me, who really hates, being too cold, you need to choose a university whether you prefer warm, cold, or moderate weather. But I know that this is not an important aspect for some of us who are coming from developing countries. All we want is to get to universities that offer us a good education. And then the other thing is university bilingual. You have to choose if they speak English, or you have to learn the native language. And then you also have to consider cost of living. There are other universities that are in capital cities whereby the cost of living is very high, and we have quite good universities that are in small towns that actually have lower cost of living. So the location of the university should also guide you, and also to choose a place where you feel comfortable and your pocket is not run dry. And then the one of the other things is that you have to look at tuition fees. If you can fund yourself, look for those universities that are not too expensive. And then if you really want to apply for scholarships, also check if the university offers you a scholarship. Some universities have actually their own internal scholarship program, so it is good to check that when you are actually looking for a university. And then you need to compare tuition fees between universities and countries, and also you need to check if the countries that you're going to are eligible for other international scholarship, if there is financial aid for international students. Those are the things that you really need to look at when you're looking for a university. So you also need to, whilst we are there on tuition fees, if you're going to be a self-funding student, you also need to look if the city is going to offer you part-time work that will allow you to, earn some money and ease the financial burden. And then depending on the city of the university that you choose, you need to plan your budget wisely, and this will help you to avoid financial stress. If you look at most of the universities that are out there, they offer like more like a budget, more like a standard budget of what you should expect. So as you are looking for a university, also look into those things, the budgeting. It is important that you look for universities in towns that you really know you are able to afford the cost of living there. I know that everyone really wants to go into the capital city, but the stress that comes with the lifestyle there, the cost of living there, is sometimes not worth it. So it's really good to find those universities that are in smaller towns. The cost of living there would be much more better, and also like your chances of getting a job are actually much more higher in smaller towns or in outskirts than in capital city, because remember, many people are coming to the capital city to look for jobs, and the number of graduates being released each year in that city is also high. So to avoid stress, you could also consider, universities that are out of town. But if you have enough money and if your pocket allows it, please also consider those universities in big cities. It's just that small towns are budget friendly. And then you also need to check the admission requirements. These are tailor-made for each university. It's not one size fits all. I think the only thing that I've seen right now that is becoming much more prominent and much more required even in other universities that were not requiring this before is having the student writing an English proficiency test. An English proficiency test is something that I'm seeing that being asked of every student, especially if you're coming from, developing countries, or if you're coming from non-native English speaking countries. So that's one thing that you need to check, what the school requires. In this part, I normally want to encourage you guys to really read through, because sometimes you might think you have all the information but you end up missing out other things. And if you are applying to study abroad, they have what they call academic years, and once you miss the deadline, it's different from like back home where you can get the deadline extended and all of that. They work according to deadlines. So once you miss one deadline, you might have to wait until next year as well to be able to apply for that program again. So I would like to leave you with one pro tip whereby you start researching early and apply to multiple universities to increase your chances of, being admitted abroad. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to university A, and then just say that's what I'm doing. You might be surprised that if you're applying for master programs, they actually have a limit of 20 people per program. So you might not make it for those 20 people. But if you had applied to other different universities, then you will not be disappointed when one option does not work out. So this is a pro tip that I want to leave you with, whether you are choosing a university or you're applying for financial aid or scholarships. I would like to encourage you to ensure that you apply in many different areas. So I hope you really learned a lot from this video on what to do when choosing a university to study abroad. As I said, you need to consider the location, you need to consider the tuition fees, you need to consider the admission requirements. This will help you narrow down which university you want to go to, because sometimes it can be overwhelming when you go on the internet. You see a lot of universities there and you don't know where to start, and by the end of the year you end up probably not even applying to one. But if you follow this step-by-step guide of choosing a university, you are most likely to land in your dream university. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next video. Bye.